Hey guys, some developers decided to go further than everyone else, so far that their games sometimes stop being just games. They create systems that work almost like real life, accurate physics, painfully realistic injuries, unforgiving ballistics, living ecosystems, and mechanics where every mistake has a real price. Today we'll take a look at projects where realism isn't just a feature, it's the foundation of the entire experience. These are games capable of surprising even players who consider themselves veterans. I want to start with Green Hell. This is probably the harshest and most honest survival simulator, where nature itself is a full-fledged enemy. The Amazon jungle isn't just scenery, it's a living world that reacts to the player. Every wound, even the smallest one, can lead to serious consequences: infections, parasites, or deteriorating health. You have to treat cuts, apply proper bandages, and maintain hygiene. The game forces you to monitor not only body temperature, but also the character's mental state. Hallucinations, panic, and loneliness become just as dangerous as the predators around you. Nutrition is also extremely realistic. Proteins, fats, carbs, and hydration level. Everything must be balanced or survival turns into a battle against your own body. The Long Dark. This is cold you can almost physically feel. The game isn't about monsters. It's about the brutal reality of the Canadian winter, where your main enemy is the weather. Every walk can be your last. Strong wind drains warmth. A campfire goes out from the smallest mistake, and heavy gear exhausts you quickly. Everything follows the logic of real life. Clothes protect but get soaked fast, your backpack holds very little, the character burns calories rapidly, and supplies are always on the edge of running out. Even starting a fire is a whole process where the chance of failure depends on tinder quality, weather, and the materials you use. You constantly feel how fragile life is. Every found can of food or lost match becomes a significant event. Ready or Not. This is one of the most intense and realistic shooters about SWAT operations. The game isn't about flashy action, it's about cold, calculated, professional room clearing. Everything matters: the angle of entry, team synchronization, gear selection, and protocol adherence. One mistake, and the operation turns into chaos within seconds. NPCs behave unpredictably. Some surrender, some panic, and some may charge at you even unarmed. Ballistics, wall penetration, enemy reactions to specific calibers, all of it works honestly without any arcade shortcuts. Even a single shot can fatally injure both a suspect and a hostage, which makes firearms a last resort, not a primary problem-solving method. Hell Let Loose. This is one of the most realistic and unforgiving interpretations of World War II, where the usual fast-paced gameplay is replaced with the heavy, gritty atmosphere of real warfare. There are no markers, no enemy indicators, only mud, trenches, chaos, and the constant feeling of mortal danger. Distances are huge, bullets follow real ballistic physics, and a single hit often means instant death. This isn't an arcade shooter, this is the front line. But the main feature is the command structure and logistics. It's not enough to shoot well. You need proper coordination between squads, engineers, support units, and officers. Without ammo supplies or fortified positions, even the strongest squad can't hold the line. Commanders must act like real officers, issuing orders, placing spawn points, reinforcing flanks, and coordinating dozens of players. Space Engineers. This is a sandbox where physics isn't just decoration, it's the foundation of the gameplay. A mistake in calculations feels like a real accident, and a well-designed ship brings a kind of satisfaction you won't find in most other games. The game doesn't just let you build ships, it forces you to understand how they actually work. Every component has weight, durability, and power consumption. Every maneuver in space follows the laws of inertia, so a poorly calculated acceleration can turn your ship into an uncontrollable projectile. There are no magical space engines, your thrust must match the ship's mass, and bad gyroscope balance makes the controls unpredictable. If your ship takes damage, it doesn't just lose health, its systems actually break. Engines fail, batteries stop working, and oxygen or power distribution gets disrupted. SnowRunner. This is basically a textbook on how heavy vehicles behave in harsh environments, presented in the form of a game. There are no easy roads or quick solutions here. Every bump, every puddle, and every slope becomes a challenge. Vehicles don't just drive, they fight the environment. Mud pulls the wheels down, snow hides dangerous pits, rivers can sweep your truck away, and rut depth actually affects traction. The physics is so detailed that even slight changes in cargo weight affect how the vehicle handles. The player has to think like a professional driver, picking the right gear, choosing the best winch anchor point, and watching engine and suspension damage. It's a slow, methodical game, but incredibly atmospheric. Eco. This is a simulation of an entire world where every mistake affects the ecosystem just as noticeably as in real life. You can't endlessly cut down forests or mine resources. Everything has consequences. Soil becomes depleted, animals disappear, and pollution rises to the point where it can even affect the climate. Players have to think sustainably not because the game tells them to, but because the world will literally collapse otherwise. The economy is built on real principles: skilled professions, role distribution, production chains, logistics, trade, and laws created by the players themselves. For society to function, people need to negotiate, plan, build infrastructure, regulate resource extraction, and maintain the balance between consumption and environmental preservation. Insurgency. This is a shooter built around extremely realistic gunplay. There are no intrusive HUD elements, no hit markers, and no enemy outlines. Only your weapon, the sound around you, and your instincts. Every bullet is dangerous, and every mistake is fatal. Even small calibers kill in 1 or 2 hits, and the recoil is so strong that you have to fire in short bursts or single shots, just like in real combat conditions. Weapon handling, reloading, movement, aiming, everything feels physically heavy. Enemies don't stand still. They reposition, flank, and react to noise and smoke. This isn't a game about running around or flashy kill streaks. It's a game about the fragility of human life and the realities of modern combat. Squad. This game shows war not as a collection of cool moments, but as a complex system built on cooperation between dozens of players. Playing alone is pointless. Every role matters, from a frontline rifleman to a squad leader. Success depends on logistics, supply lines, proper vehicle allocation, and timely base construction. This isn't a shooter where your kills matter most. It's a simulation of real warfare, where even a single ammo truck can determine the outcome of an entire operation. Ballistics, sound, and combat distances in squad are as close to reality as possible. Gunshots echo for hundreds of meters, bullets whip overhead, and cover actually saves your life. One wrong step or a bad move across open ground often ends in instant death. Commanders must coordinate dozens of players, issue clear orders, and build the front line. Derail Valley. This isn't just driving a train, it's a fully realistic simulation of railway work with all its complexities. The player has to account for wagon weight, coupler condition, brake system pressure, locomotive overheating, and dozens of technical details that most games usually hide. Push the speed a little too far or distribute the weight incorrectly, and the train begins to sway dangerously, leading to an actual derailment. To get moving, you need to manage the throttle correctly, check pressure, watch the switches, and follow the schedule. Fixing mistakes is also entirely manual. If something breaks, you repair it yourself. If you derail, you pull the train back onto the tracks using a crane. Operation Flashpoint, Dragon Rising. This is the game that set the standard for the genre long before modern military simulators appeared. There are no familiar markers, no enemy outlines, and no safe engagement ranges. Combat happens across kilometer-long distances, and bullets follow real trajectories affected by wind, drop, and caliber type. One careless step from behind cover or a poor assessment of the terrain, and your character dies instantly. There are no heroic duels and no chance to outplay the enemy with quick reactions. Everything comes down to tactics, reconnaissance, and caution. The game forces you to act like a real soldier, planning routes, using hills, checking sectors, monitoring ammo, and always thinking ahead. Kenshi. This isn't a heroic RPG. It's a brutal simulation of a world that gives no one any mercy. Every character in Kenshi isn't a superhero, but a fragile being who can lose a limb, bleed out, or collapse from exhaustion. Any injury has long-term consequences. Fractures require rehabilitation, damaged organs weaken your stats, and severe wounds leave your character on the brink of death for many in-game days. Bleeding isn't just a status effect, it's a real mechanic that can wipe out your entire squad if you don't provide aid in time. But Kenshi goes even further. In a world full of slavers, cannibals, raiders, and bizarre factions, every character truly lives their own story. There is no quick leveling. The game is built on natural growth, where every skill increases through real actions. Rising Storm 2. This game delivers an incredibly honest representation of the chaos and brutality of the Vietnam War, removing almost all traditional HUD elements. There's practically no interface, no enemy indicators, and no hit markers. You have to rely solely on sound, muzzle flashes, and your own awareness. And because of the dense vegetation, hills, and fog, spotting the enemy is genuinely difficult, which makes every encounter deadly. A single bullet, even a stray one, kills instantly, and any wrong move results in immediate death. The game shows war not as a heroic battlefield, but as a dirty, terrifying, chaotic space where life hangs by a thread. Way of the Hunter. This is one of the most accurate hunting simulations, where every element follows the laws of nature and real ballistics. Firearms behave realistically, taking into account bullet speed, drop, and ammunition type. To make a precise shot, you need to consider distance, wind, stance, breathing, and the angle relative to the target. But realism extends far beyond shooting. Animals move, hear, and react exactly like real wildlife. They can sense your scent, get spooked by movement, run from the sound of wind, or freeze if something feels off. After being hit, an animal doesn't die instantly. It runs, leaving different types of blood trails that help you analyze how deep the bullet went, whether an organ was hit, and where the animal might have escaped. Every hunt becomes a full investigation that requires patience and attention to detail. War of Rights. This is one of the most authentic and detail-focused simulations of the American Civil War. There's no typical solo action here. The entire battle is built on discipline, command orders, and historically accurate formations. Soldiers don't fire individually, but deliver volleys on the officer's command, and then spend long seconds reloading old rifles through a complicated manual process. That's what makes the game surprisingly realistic. Every action requires time, attention, and teamwork. With no sights or familiar UI elements, players must rely on instinct and visual cues on the battlefield. To hold the line, you must stay in formation, listen to the commander, and understand your role within the unit. Sailwind. This is a game about real sailing. It completely abandons markers, minimap navigation, and any form of automated control. To move, the player must manually adjust the sails, find the right angle to the wind, account for inertia, and constantly balance speed and direction. Make a mistake, and the ship can stall, drift off course, or be caught in a storm. The main feature of Sailwind is celestial navigation. To understand where you are, you need to look at the sky, identify constellations, track the wind direction, and make manual calculations. This turns every journey into a true seafaring adventure that requires patience, focus, and an understanding of basic navigation. Scavenger. This is one of the most unforgiving survival sims, built not around visuals but around an incredibly detailed simulation of the human body. Every wound is a real problem. Type of injury, depth, inflammation, blood loss, infection, everything is modeled separately. Even a small cut can become fatal if left untreated. Diseases, parasites, toxicity, dehydration, temperature. The game constantly tests how well you understand your body and its limits. Hunger and cold kill especially fast. If you don't find food or build shelter, your chances of survival drop sharply. Water is a whole separate issue. You must purify, filter, or boil it, otherwise contamination will lead to a painful death. The Long Drive. This is a strange yet surprisingly realistic game where the main enemy isn't a monster, it's your own car. The player gets an old, barely functioning vehicle, and the entire journey turns into a giant mechanical experiment. You have to manually disassemble the engine, replace filters, use the correct type of fuel, and monitor oil levels and cooling. Every part has its own condition, and incorrect assembly leads to breakdowns, leaks, overheating, and unpredictable behavior. The car physics are incredibly honest. Different fuels affect engine performance, rust, and dirt degrade parts, and worn-out tires can pull the car to the side. Along the road, you'll find hundreds of items you can use for repairs: cans, spare parts, mirrors, body panels. Everything is attached, rotated, inserted, and fixed manually, just like in a real garage. Infra. This is a unique game that turns the daily routine of a technical inspector into a realistic and surprisingly engaging adventure. You inspect bridges, tunnels, power plants, old factories, and buildings that haven't seen maintenance in years. Every structure is a precise engineering model created according to real standards and principles. Your main tools are a camera and a flashlight. You look for cracks, check metal corrosion, evaluate pillar stability, analyze leaks, and even monitor electrical and hydraulic systems. A mistake doesn't mean death, but it does mean a failed inspection and sometimes consequences for an entire city. Stormworks, build and rescue. This is one of the deepest engineering sandboxes where you're not just building cool-looking machines, you're creating real vehicles that obey actual physical laws. You can build anything: ships, submarines, helicopters, planes, rescue vehicles, but every design must function honestly. Water pressures the hull, air generates lift, mass affects stability, and a wrong wing angle or poorly balanced fuel system can destroy your creation within minutes. Electronics are a whole universe of their own. The game has logic components, relays, sensors, switches, programmable microcontrollers, and you have to wire everything manually. Want an autopilot? You'll have to write the program yourself. Want to search for survivors at night? Build spotlights, radars, stabilization systems, and emergency beacons. Every mission here is a test of your design and your engineering mindset. Stranded: Alien Dawn. This is a game that portrays survival on an alien planet not through sci-fi spectacle, but through scientific and biological realism. The local ecosystem isn't just a backdrop. It's a living, interconnected environment where every life form reacts to weather, seasons, and your actions. Temperatures drop at night, plants wither without sunlight, animals migrate, and storms can instantly destroy poorly protected structures. The world follows logical rules, they just aren't human rules, which makes survival even harder. Your colonists aren't superheroes. Each one has weaknesses, personalities, needs, and physical limits. Illnesses come from cold, dirt, bites, or eating the wrong alien plants. Crops depend on species choice, soil quality, climate, and the time of year. You need to build greenhouses, reinforce houses against the wind, set up heating systems, and stockpile food in advance. Otherwise, winter becomes a deadly trap. Games with extremely realistic mechanics can be harsh, slow, and demanding, but that's exactly where their strength lies. They show the world as it might look without interfaces and conveniences. And I hope that among all these games, you found something that resonated with you and made you look at realism in virtual worlds from a new perspective. The Image Game Channel was with you. Have a nice day.